Poland central bank governor just commenting that they will flag rate change plans in advance come from Poland. Again, they previously noted they'll keep rates steady throughout the course of this year.
Forex trading ideas for today. Where? And Forex.Today. Good night, mate. Excuse me. Good morning. Welcome to Forex.Today. Let me remind you that trading is risky, not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. Welcome to Forex.Today. Let me remind you that the purpose of this webinar is education. This is not an alert service. I'm not here to make trade recommendations. I will conduct technical and fundamental analysis, and I'll do so real time, pip by pip, accountable, with the overriding goal of helping you put together trade plans throughout this beautiful New York trading session. If you're trading along with me using a demo account, then regardless of whether your plans are successful or not, you will have an opportunity to learn. Trading and investing is risky and not appropriate for everyone. Your past performance, good or bad, is not necessarily indicative of future results. Stay small, stay humble, focus on the long term, and never risk money you cannot afford to lose. How about that? Ni hao ma! Hey, my name is Wayne. I'm a currency trader. Been doing this for a long time. Oh wait, that's supposed to be over here. It's really nice to meet you. I'll be your guide this morning. Namaste. Thank you for being a client to TradersWay. We appreciate you. Throw your diamonds in the sky. Hello, diamonds in the sky. I'm here to make you a success one way or the other. But ultimately, you're going to have to do the work. And for some reason, it requires blood, sweat, and tears for years, probably just to create the maturity, since you're going to be a leader in our community, but also in the Forex trading world. I do these sessions 7:30 in the morning, Monday through Friday here at Forex.Today. And once a month, I do Trade Non-Farm Payrolls Live at FX Street. It is their largest webinar, most popular webinar, and I've been doing that for 12 years. Yeah. But other than that, I'm just a humble Forex trader like yourself. I just got a few more years under my belt than you, so I'm willing to share. You and I have got what it takes to make it. We won't fake it. Ow! Right? No. Because I couldn't take it. All right, so where are we? I haven't touched this since yesterday except for my class last night. So where are we? What is this? Oh, okay, South African ZAR. So these are the exotics. I have two trades there. This, you know, we had the lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high, lower low, lower high. This is what we talked about yesterday, and we laughed because it was so obvious that it should make another lower low and then another lower high. So I'm going to move my stops again, and I'm going to move them down here. This is, I can't even see that. Is that? It's 20,000 pips. Wow, that's ridiculous. I'm going to lock in 19,000 pips on that one trade. It's true though, isn't it? It's 19,000. This one has 28,000 on one, and only 19,000 on the other. Come on, South Africa! That's embarrassing. All right, come on. I'll lock in 28,000 pips on this first one and 19,000 on that one. Yeah, I could probably cash out and buy a latte, right? Yeah. But if you're in South Africa, you could probably have someone killed for that much money. So anyways, got that locked in and hoping for another lower high, lower low. Yeah, so how much is that in dollars? So I'm sitting on $1,200. So I'll probably get knocked out with 1,000 USD. But where was it yesterday? It was only like 900 USD or something, right? So yeah, well, Anthony, where were you yesterday? I mean, we talked about this yesterday. Come on, Tony, T-Bone, A-Man, A-Rod. It has to do, yeah, well, look, that's your problem right there. What do you mean off yesterday? There is no such thing. When do I get a day off? Come on, work. Yeah, work. I got school. I got children. I got things to do. So anyways.
South Africa going to be selling bills on January 26th, 91 and 182-day bills.
Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah. So, it's more of a US dollar collapse idea and more of a rally in commodity currencies, and then also just macro, right? Macro. So maybe 3 or 4 weeks ago, I was talking about diminishing returns on capital. Yeah, we did this, and I drew a diminishing returns curve, and it just, once you invest into, safe trades, safe investments in developed countries like the United States, it's safe, but you're not going to make a lot of money because there's already a lot of capital deployed. There's already there's not a lot of labor here, but that's already deployed. But there's a lot of technology, right? So to add a little bit more, or even a lot more, gives you very little difference, right? But if you invest into a third world country, they might be labor, they have tons of labor, right? But they have no capital and very little technology. So you can put a little bit of capital in, like, hey, South Africa, here's some money, and you get way greater return than if you put that same amount of money or capital in the US, right, or a developed country. So we talked all about that like a month ago. But it's interesting because, you know how, I mean, we've known this US dollar was going to weaken, right? We're laughing how the talking heads just didn't get it. Let's see if I can get this on. Check this out. I have to get to this other page. Check this out. I saw a lot of interesting things. Now, I can't see what you're typing. I'm on a different page now. So don't start adding insightful questions here. Hang on. Couple of things on that, I think. Let me find it. Wait. Let me see it. I'll never find it. Hang on.
And sometimes we do see the ECB issue a statement with its rate decision. Prior groggy remarks known that interest rates will remain at present level well past the end of QE as financial.
Okay, I'll turn him off. All right, so Christine Lagarde, the head of the International Monetary Fund, she said today, trade is a very significant engine of growth, stated that the USD value was determined by markets, but called upon U.S. Treasury Secretary Mnuchin to clarify comments on a weak USD currency. So, like, Lagarde's like, dude, why is the dollar so weak, right? And she wants, like, the Treasury to answer to that, which is funny because it probably has nothing to do with the Treasury. But let's go on. So that's the head of the IMF doesn't understand why the USD is weak right now. There was another one in here. I know there's just so much information, I can't find things. Jordan said something. Where does anyone know who Jordan is? And of course, now you're going to answer, and I can't even see. Jordan is the head of the Swiss National Bank. Okay, I can't find that either. Wish I could find it. Maybe here. SNB, Swiss National Bank. SNB. What the hell is that? Huh, I can't find it now. I can't believe it. So anyways, let me try to find you. Where'd you go? Where's my... Yeah. All right. And then, so Jordan, the head of the Swiss National Bank overnight too, said, weak US dollar? Huh? Fed's raising interest rates. Euro's doing quantitative easing. Eventually, this should catch up. Cool. Okay. But these are like, I mean, these are pretty important people thinking very textbook wise, right? And there's this idea of what we talked about before, macroeconomics. There's a problem in macroeconomics. Okay? The problem is you have long run, which means, oh, hang on. Let's get back to that. I forgot. Sorry, I get caught up in stupid Euro news.
In regard to non-standard monetary policy measures, the Council confirms that the net assets are remaining at $30 billion, so keeping the QE as well to the end of September, so no change in the current QE program as well.
Wow, that's breaking news.
Reiterating the statement that QE can be increased in size or duration should the outlook worsen.
So he's trying to talk the euro down, in my opinion. Nothing's changed.
In the easy statement.
We're not cutting back. We could even increase, he's saying, but he's not, of course. Isn't that funny? I'm not making any changes. I'm not cutting back, but I could increase. But we'll see. That's not enough. Well, Joe, Draghi's pretty creative. He tried something that I wouldn't have even thought of not long ago. He decided to do less for longer. It's like looking for a job and you've been working 5 hours a day, sending out resumes and, well, mostly just looking for a job. And then maybe you send out one or two or three resumes a week and you just can't get a job. So one day you say, hey, well, I think I'll do less per day. This is hard looking for a job. So I'm only going to work 3 hours a day. And I'll just do that for a few extra years eventually, but so the ECB did that. They decided to do less, but do it for longer. Exactly, right? Or two. Right? Like they say in Spain, if you ain't third, you're last. What did I see today? The Spanish, I gotta pull this up now. The Spanish unemployment rate, did you guys see that? Now I got it. I don't have it. I missed my 18 screens, right? I have to be over there to do all this. Where was it? No, it was like 16%. like still. I don't have it in front of me. I have all this information in my head, and I can't find where I learn all this stuff. So anyways, can you imagine? Wow. Wow. I mean, wow. Wow. Yeah, and then the people with jobs make no money, right? Wow. It's like 16%. Yeah, Ryan's like, well, hey, South Africa. Whoa, 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 whoa. South Africa has a high unemployment rate too, but I bet you the workforce is small relative to the population as well. Right? Yeah. How many people in South Africa are not in the official labor force? Work under the table, work for cash, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. So you might say, well, we have 23% unemployment. Yeah, but half the population's not even in the workforce, so they're not even counted. So it's 23% of the people counted. It's actually 75%. Yeah. Yeah, 65, 70. Yeah. But, you know, this sucks for the government because that population should be paying taxes. But whatever. So let's not get into all of that. But you know, I'm thinking about spending the entire week, and I'm signing up for a course at Harvard, where for 3 days, so for I think it's 16 hours over the course of 3 days, we debate the minimum wage. That sounds like fun. So I think I'm going to sign up for that and fly out to Cambridge. Friday night, all day Saturday, and all Sunday morning. Doesn't that sound like fun? Yeah, but it could be. Because what happens is you start like designing like price floors and price ceilings, and how that creates gaps between market demand and supply where equilibrium should be, but then you have these gaps created by, you know, because it's not meeting the artificial ceiling or floor is creating a disjuncture between what should be an equilibrium market price. So it can, you know, and now we're talking about social stuff. So I could come in and say, we need less government. It's not up to the government to set the wage. If they only deserve $3 an hour, they only get $3 an hour, right? Someone else might say, yeah, well, then you have a, you know, social society collapses and all this kind of stuff, and you know, there's a moral duty to provide a certain standard of living for everyone, even, you know, that kind of stuff. So you start to debate. I think it can be at least interesting. Right? So whatever. Let's move on.com. So I got, what was it, 30,000 pips locked in. How many pips did you make this month? I'm already up like 32,000 pips. Wait. I pulled out what, 7,000 pips on the peso, right? Yeah, I'm gonna make 50,000 pips this month. Boom! No, it's only 4% of my account, but all right. Well, how about this? Up until about a month ago, you probably never even looked at South African ZAR. We sold it, did well. In your opinion, as a technical analyst studying exotic currencies, do you or do you not believe traders of the Turkish lira use pivot points? You're going to have to type it. Now, here's the thing. In my swing trading course, we tell you, oops, if you're a bear, this is where you sell. And this, right? But wait, no, I'm off. Hang on. In the swing trading course, this is where you want to sell. And this being the most important of the pivots. Okay, so it didn't open perfect. But based on that knowledge, this is the conservative target. Right? Not here, not here. Right? Like, wow! To the pip! Like, holy smokes! How could you possibly trade without knowing this stuff? It may be implausible. Look at the week earlier. What happens if you hit your target early in the week, like a Tuesday? Right? In that same course, it says there's a high propensity for it to return back to the central pivot, right? Okay, that one is 3 pips off. It did triple bottom though. Peter, it's all trading, so I wouldn't get too caught up on that. But like, it's like this, Peter. Once you know, how could you not do it? So it's not, I don't know. I don't think that way. But what you could do is you could have a portfolio specifically on that. But like, it's sort of like, let's say I love swing trading, which I do. Does that mean I can't scalp? Well, I love scalping, right? So it's just knowledge and skill. Yeah, you and me both, Sean. So anyways, it's just remarkable, right? Bo 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 bo. La da 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 da. So I'd like to ride this down further, but it's not up to me. It's up to South Africa. All right. So anyways, that's where we just left off.
Yeah, we'll see some Russian economic data highlighted by December unemployment, which is expected to hold steady at 5.1%.
Let's see. Amazing, huh? Just amazing. Lovely. With your smile so worn and your teeth so green. Right. Yeah, just looking. So we're caught on this little hiccup soon. What's up there? Yeah, man, this is risky beeswax. Do, 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 do. Yeah, just crazy, redonkulous. It's so out there.
We're also on the lookout for some
There's
Russian
just
data,
nothing.
Russian cargo shipments and construction numbers, also gold reserves for the week expected at the top of the hour, along with retail sales, disposable income, and the unemployment rate. So a host of Russian data expected out here at 8 o'clock Eastern time. We're a little more than 30 minutes now from U.S. retail sales numbers, initial jobless claims, and continuing claims, and the all-important ECB press conference.
Yeah, so we're just waiting for ECB now. Oh, I took profit yesterday on oil, probably right at the same price we're at now. I think like $2. Bought at 64, got out at 66, something like that. Still moving up. This may be a reload up to 21, right? What do you want to use? 13? Lavender is probably not the right one. Let's do this weird one.
Russia unemployment in line at 5.1%.
We didn't get the pullback I was hoping for on this peso. I mean, we still could, right? I mean, that's still our neckline, and that is the target for the month. So I'd still like to see it rise before we sell it. Right? What's the date today? 24th, I think. 25th. So we're not actually going to sell it till about So I'm looking at it, the 31st of January is a Wednesday, and then the 2nd is Friday. So it's sort of like it may not move until Wednesday, first wave Wednesday. So it'll be a slow move, right? Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Well, Wednesday and Friday. Probably nothing will happen Thursday. So we're still really about a week early. So I'd like for this to rise a few days. Okay. Also, one thing I look for, let's say this heads all the way down today and tomorrow. Okay, we're down here on Monday. Then it's a little different because it's not a head and shoulders, it's a crown. And I tend to look at this and then I try to mimic this way. Okay, so I'll look at pivots and stuff and try to fit it in and try to figure out where the shoulder is, but it would be lower. It'd be more like this. Okay. So this is, so if we're down here this Friday, next Friday would probably be here, not up here, okay? And that's a crown. And then what you would do is you'd look at your neckline, let's say here, okay? And then you'd look at here, you'd measure that distance. And then you take from here or here, it's whatever you prefer, and then you would project down to how far it would fall. Okay. So anyways, it doesn't look like it wants to rise enough. Well, they're not, because they're gonna, your entry would be different, Ryan, and your target would be different. But it's the same idea. But the head and shoulders, you would expect this, like I've drawn for you. Okay? But instead, you would get this if you're a crown. Okay? Yeah, Barry says, I don't like calling it head and shoulders. And truly, what the most important point of all of these patterns, first of all, you expect something to develop before it's happened. So you're creating a plan. But to me, it's just simply a break of a low. Okay? Is the crown. So you're going to trade, let's say, the retracement is the general idea. Where's the retracement going to be? Well, it could be here, it could be here, and it could be here. We don't know, okay? But I would expect this one, but it might be this one if the market's super aggressive. Okay? The other way, the head and shoulders, if it bounced here, you're not trading the break, you're trading the resistance, anticipating the break. The break comes down, probably still would come up, and you'd add your second one there. Yeah. But also, the other key difference is where you define your neckline to be. Head and shoulders neckline is easy because you're going to say that's the neckline and that's the shoulder line. That's easy. In a crown, you have to decide where your neckline is. Is it a slanted neckline, or are you still going to play, right, this neckline? Because you need the neckline to measure. Well, do you measure the neckline here to here? Right? Here to here. You could also measure it off this one.
On the political front for Germany, just note the coalition talks are scheduled to start tomorrow.
Well, you can measure it any way you want. Right? That's the problem. That's why maybe it's less accurate. The way I treat it, if I were me, I just look at it as a lower low. I'm going to look at this line. I'm going to look at that line. I'm going to look at a fib, and I'm going to try to find a key pivot, like a central, and I'm going to watch them all. But most likely it's going to go up into the central pivot and then down. That's what I'd be watching for. Okay? But if it rolled over here, I'd probably take a shot, hope for the best. Okay? And so if it came up to the pivot, which is next week's central pivot, and drop, then you'd have a neckline like this, and you'd have a shoulder line like this, and I already explained that. Wicked smart. Oh.
Okay, Prime Minister May beginning her Davos speech.
Yeah. Oh, no worries.
Just begin to talk about trade, that free trade rhetoric is not matched by action.
Oh yeah, I guess we can go back. I mean, just like, what do you do in these situations? It's too far. I mean, yes, we've predicted all this stuff. Look at this arrow. But now it's so far, huh? You see all these areas I drew for you? I'm pretty sure we drew them ahead of time. But this is an entry point, right? You can see this is an entry point. Beautiful stuff. So now you got to do this, right? Just do it again and again and again and again and again. But somewhere it's toppish, and you got to be worried. I mean, but technically, things are destroyed. We just destroyed this. I'm so glad I'm a bear. I'd be foolish if I was, well, bear on dollar. I'd be so foolish to have been bullish on the US dollar, huh? Look at just everything is destroyed. Just, it's all gone. Where is it? It's all gone. So we're caught up on the R3. I mean, I just want out of this. That can be foolish too, but it's frothy little bubble. Right? So I generally don't even use R3 pivots because they're so rarely even in the market. So to hit one like this, I mean, look, I know pound dollar went way through it, went way higher than the monthly R3. But I just have to point out that this is unusual. I mean, it's really rare. So if you rode this up to monthly R3, and got out, I don't think anyone would blame you. Well, it might go further. So, I thought your job was to be a risk manager, right? I thought you were conservative. I thought you were disciplined. That's what I thought. So, anyways, wow. Don't know. I don't know what happens beyond that. Right? You're in uncharted territory.
Treasury Secretary saying that Brazilian debt cushion remains comfortable for Brazil.
What happens if you're in uncharted territory? You either get robbed or eaten by wolves. One of the two. Oh, no, you get a disease. Yeah. So let's see. Euro yen is falling. Huh. So glad. USD yen is falling. That's cool. Aussie yen is falling. Look at the lower low, lower high, guys. I set up the double, triple top for you. Now check this out. I mean, it's so easy. If you're trading this, that's so easy to do. It's so straightforward. Right? Pound has not. CAD yen, I would say, is down. And Kiwi yen has come down. And the first move downward in these yen pairs, even though they were up for 8 weeks or something, the first move happened on the week I said it would happen. Then there was a rally up on the week I said it would happen. And now 5 out of the 6 yen pairs, major yen pairs, have come down on the week that I said they would come down after a false rally. Can I claim victory yet? That at least 9 months to 12 months in advance, I predicted the yen market week by week. Cool. Thank you. Oh, thank you. That's cool, right?
Bottom of the hour, we'll get U.S. data. We'll get the weekly
Yen
jobless
pairs,
claims.
Brendan,
So
we're
the data
talking
that was
pairs.
originally scheduled for the bottom of the hour pushed back to tomorrow. That includes the advanced trade balance and wholesale sales. That'll come out Friday. The jobless claims at the bottom of the hour. Just note it will not be the usual press lockup. Data could come out in a haphazard fashion. We'll also get the Canadian November retail sales data at full previous timestamp, 10 minutes past your hour. Let's get the start of the ECB press conference at the bottom of the hour.
Thanks. So the real, like when you look at the Aussie yen, so for Brendan who didn't know, by the way, I did this the year earlier too, and the year before and the year before. So I do it every year, these kinds of predictions. But the general idea was up until the Monday after non-farm payrolls, in which it would definitely fall. Then starting the third week of January, it would have a false rally, whatever that means, right? And then there's a high propensity for the yen pair to actually fall all the way down to about April 1st. So we're not quite there like on this pair. Remember, every pair is slightly different. It's going to have its own quirks based on its own economics. You know, I don't know if you truly can count this as a victory until, let's say, you get lower than this, right? But the idea that we were long all November, all December. Then the second week of January, we were selling this hard. Then the third week of January, we were expecting what I call a false rally. Would you call that a false rally? It rallied up but did not make a higher high? It's your interpretation. What is a false rally? I don't know. It's different every year, but I think you could call that a false rally. But the most important part of that is that then it should decline, and you know we've made a lower low now, and so whether it doesn't head down to January or to April or not, I mean it's still an amazing level of accuracy. Like we're talking particular days in which the entire market, not just Aussie yen, all yen pairs are going to fluctuate in which direction. I mean that's crystal ball stuff, isn't it? At least you weren't buying here. Like, give me more, buy. This is going to go up forever. Remember? Because what I was telling you is the people that were long here that made a lot of cash, even though there's no dollar, let's say they're making a lot of money here, they might have got knocked out their stops here, right? But what they're going to want to do is reinvest. So they start buying this false rally, but to them it's a real rally, expecting a higher high, right? They're expecting this to go up. And we're like, there's no way in hell it's going to go up. And they're getting stopped out again. But what's going to happen if we get below this? The people, these guys. I mean, they're freaking out it didn't make a higher high this week, right? But what if this, right? Because remember, they bought it here or here or here or here or even at the top. That's where they bought it, right? So these guys are freaking out. Now these guys are freaking out. Now we're making a 50% retracement, which now we're really going to start hitting stop losses because most people don't enter perfect trades. They're a little bit late and they got in after this. So if we dip below here, I think we're going to hit the first wave of real stops, which will then get us down to here. And then for anyone that has wider stops, their stops are going to be here, right? If they entered here, their stops are here. So if this comes down and goes this whole thing, everyone that was long all November and all December, they're out. In fact, they gave back probably all the profit they made in November and December, if not all, a very, very significant amount, because they gave back a lot of pips here, but then they gave all this back and some of the previous profit. So I'd say at least half the money they made in the fourth quarter of last year is now gone, and they show a loss in the first quarter. And what I'm telling you is 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12 months in advance, I'm like, yeah, you should take profit here. You could sell it here, then buy it here, and then probably sell it back. And everyone else, like the head of the Swiss National Bank or the head of the IMF, is like, what's going on? And there's a difference between long run, and I was trying to get to this earlier. There's a difference between long run macroeconomics and short run macroeconomics. Maybe one day that'll be my PhD thesis. Well, I'll talk about, long run potential GDP look like this, let's say in the United States. Okay? And things that affect that are like demographics and all that kind of stuff, not necessarily business cycles and all that. And then what actual GDP often looks like is this. This. Now it looks like this. Okay? And what you find is, let me switch colors. I don't know if what is this? We're talking like oscillators, you'd have to do it like that. I'm trying to actually make this accurate, which is funny because I'm making it up. You know what those things are? Of course I'm trying, Barry. Jeez. What else would I be doing, Barry? I'm not like, what's his face taking days off. What are these red areas, guys? Recessions. Thank you, Chuck. Perfect. So the thing is, so there are recessionary gaps between long run and short run macroeconomics. And the thing is, why do they lag? And then look at this one. This one lagged way more than the year 2000s, right? This .com lagged way more than that. And then this one would have been like the 80s, which really we fixed very quickly earlier. And there should be in the 70s we were above because of inflation. Okay, so anyways, so what I mean, I'd be a fool if I said Christine Lagarde was a fool, or that Jordan, the head of the Swiss National Bank, was a fool, right? I'd be a fool if I called them fools.
But what Prime Minister May calling on technology companies to do more to regulate their platforms
is that as central bankers, they see the world like this. Okay? And as traders now, we see the world slightly different. We see it like this. Right? Business cycles, dips in macroeconomics, this country is doing well and this one's not, and all this kind of stuff. And there's a disconnect of what the world should be like. And think of this, the esoteric, way overeducated person in charge of a central bank. They don't even know what money is, but they're in charge of the money supply. They're rich, they're way overeducated, never had a real job, right? I mean, think about the guy that works in a coal mine. You give him $5. He knows what $5 is worth, right? The person working at the central bank has an esoteric version of, oh, thank you, a store of value and a monetary unit of, a unit of account. Thank you. Thank you for these 5 units of account, right? This is great because I have a high marginal propensity to want to consume. So I'll use these 5 5 measures of account. And you're like, whoa, 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 it's $5. Go buy a beer in a bar and shut up, right? So anyways, both of these are correct. Okay? You and I make money because we have a better understanding of the line. Potential GDP, and we're talking, you could do this on a country scale, like GDP for the United States, but you could do it globally, right? Like what Christine Lagarde would look at, right? So we make our money going, we trade actual GDP. Where are we? But does that number actually matter? GDP for what last quarter, 3.8%. What does that mean? What does that mean? Does it matter? Well, how about GDP last quarter, 3.8, but what if GDP last year was 2.8? What does that mean? Does it mean anything? Doesn't mean anything. So, but relative to where we should be, because relative to where we should be is going to be the thing that makes the central bank change their policy. And if you understand that, that's where you get filthy, stinking rich. Because Christine Lagarde's like, I don't get it. Right? Jordan at the S&P, Swiss National Bank, he's like, I don't get it. Whatever. Right? Because they're on the blue line and they're like, this ain't working.
The Italian finance minister saying he's
we need to do
about
something.
U.S. moves to limit trade and capital flows, and U.S. trade curves could be more damaging than a weaker U.S. dollar.
I don't want to shut him off because I don't want to miss the press conference.
Don't.
Okay, so they say, well, why are we not at potential? The blue line.
5 minutes now to the bottom of the hour. We'll get weekly initial jobless claims expected at 235,000.
So now it's their job.
Continuing claims expected 1.93 million. Canada retail sales data for November.
Yeah. So it's their job now to move the economy toward the potential GDP. Potential GDP being based on the amount of capital you have, the amount of labor you have, the amount of technology you have. If it was fully deployed, you would have some sort of output, right? You understand? So how about this? Like, what if your labor force dropped by 50%? Is that going to impact your GDP? If you have half as many workers, same amount of factories, same technology in the factories? Yeah, because there's nobody to do the job, no one to press the buttons and pull the levers. Well, what if you had a huge workforce, but no technology and no money? Because capital, you need, capital isn't cash, capital is equipment. Capital is the factory. So like there's no factories, there's no technology, because technology is like, how good is your factory? You just have a bunch of people. Well, you're not going to have very much GDP. What do they need? Ask the workers, what do you need to do your job better? Could we have a machine, please? Oh, yeah, let me give you some capital. Boom! And you have this huge increase in productivity. Right? That's what I was talking about before, the diminishing returns. When you have nothing, a little bit, that makes a big difference, right? Right? If you make $10,000 a year and somebody gives you $10,000, you're like, holy crap, this is a lot of money. Give me 10,000 bucks. I'm like, what am I going to do with this? Why did you give me this? What am I going to do with it? Okay, I'll save it. Right? Like, great, thank you. Right? So you can see the diminishing returns. Like, what am I going to do with it? Oh, well, I'll put it in the bank. I guess I'll take my kids out to a movie, or I don't know what to do with it. So our job now, and this is deep, right? This is deep stuff now. Our job is to say, when does this happen? When we are no longer when the economy is slowing down and collapsing. Okay? The economy is not working anymore. What do? Tell me, how do I make money? I don't care about saving my butt. That's what people do when they don't understand what's happening. How do we make money in a situation where the economy is collapsing? Barry, you should probably go back and study what's happened over the last 10 years and double check. Well, there'll be a bond rally. There'll be a stock market crash. Tell me. You should know this, guys. If you don't know this, you're missing like the whole point. This is it. If you're going to be a professional, people are going to come to you like, please help me, please. When's our life savings?
35,000. Continuing claims expected 1.9.
What am I going to do when I'm 75 and that money's gone? Help me, Wayne.
It's not expected 0.9%.
Okay? Maybe I'm not even going to tell you. I mean, come on. You need to do this. Forget about your ADX crossovers. Get on board with the reality. Go figure that out. Like, you don't know what to do with your life savings the next time there's a major change in GDP globally? Oh my God. Right? This is huge. Back when this was happening back in 2007, 2008, I was doing entire lectures in front of hundreds of people explaining how simple it was to prevent
233,000, just above the
235,000 loss.
Continuing claims 1.94 million, above 1.93 million expected. Canada retail sales 0.2%, 6 tenths lower than expected. Back month rise of 1/10 to 1.6%. Ex autos is 1.6%. It's above the 0.9% expectation.
All right. Then what happens here? The opposite. And what's happening now, these very, very smart people that only see the blue line, there's a disconnect. Now think of it, I think it's amazing. The heads of central banks, heads of international financial institutions are missing pretty big points here. So I think there's a PhD thesis in there somewhere. If you could just prove it to everybody that everything they know is partially correct. They're not stupid, right? And they are trying to create the policies that do this. But there is a lag, and of course, how long is the lag? The interesting part here is in the 80s, the lag was very, very minor. In the 90s, it was not significant, but not minor. And then this last recession
ECB Chief Draghi beginning his
took forever. So the next one could be irrecoverable. It might be Japan style. So there's a lot of information there, but I think it's cool. Well, Ted says it ain't a science. Well, economics is a science, but it's a social science. And if you break it down to like microeconomics, really has to do with scarcity and maximizing your benefits.
Draghi just reiterating his guidance that they see rates at present level well past the end of QE. So nothing new there in the rhetoric in his initial remarks.
Nothing happening. Yeah. So all this is expected. So it's a social science. What do people do with things like scarcity of resources? Or another question with micros, if you were running a factory and you were thinking about adding another piece of equipment, is it worth it?
In Draghi's initial
I wouldn't call that
in line
art.
with the statement following the rate decision a short time ago.
Okay, because if you say it's not a science, then you're like, well, then it's an art, and there's loosey-goosey, lovey-dovey stuff. No. When you're saying, well, if I had this piece of equipment, it cost me this much money, and it has this potential output, what would that do for to the, let's say the output cost of each additional unit this machine can make, and what kind of profit will I make from it, and how long will it take me to pay off that machine, so that then the cost of that will depreciate out, and now I just have more money. And what if it takes 20 years instead of 10 years? Or what if it's only 5 years, but I can, and then 5 years later I've impact my profits by 10%, 5%, 2%, maybe never. Well, that's not an art. That's not loosey-goosey, lovey-dovey. Everybody in the factory, all the factory managers holding hands and feeling good about the new machine, right? So then it comes down to math, and it's repeatable.
That momentum
That
increases
therefore,
confidence that inflation will pick up.
okay, I got to turn him off. Draghi is just not saying
Domestic
anything, but
price
that's
pressures
expected.
remain muted.
Where is he? Okay, kill this. No, let me kill it. All right, let's kill that. Thank you, TradeTheNews.com. Okay. Right. And same with trading. Right. I honestly believe I'm teaching you how to be a better trader. And it's not artistic per se. I think it's a skill. I think it's a repeatable skill. And therefore, it's a science. Because for it to be a science, you have to study data. You have to have a data set that you can study and analyze. Take away future probabilities, right, that are likely to be repeated, and then actually repeat it. So if you can go away and let's say with pivot points and trade the way I tell you, like let's say like the swing trading course, very good example. Here's what I do as a swing trader. And I tell you, these are the areas I buy, these are the areas I sell, and if you buy or sell at these levels, even depending on which day you're able to buy or sell at these levels, these other outcomes are usually reproduced. And then you go and do it, and you can do the same thing, right? You see what I mean? And if that's true, if that model is repeatable in someone else's laboratory, that's science. If it's me, like, I feel like it's overbought, and then it starts to fall, well, that would be very artistic, and it's just my inherent nature, my ability to put paint on a canvas in such a way. Look at his beautiful strokes. That's a little more artistic, right? Right? Where like my bones ache and I'm like, well, sell the dollar, my bones are aching again, right? So that's why, now there's this next question, and maybe this is where you're getting to, so I don't mean to pick on you, but like we were talking about this in my management class. Imagine like 100 grad students, and we're talking about occupational behavior or organizational behavior. How does one be a leader inside of a big corporation, right? And is it an art or is it a science? And of course, the professor wants to tell you it's a science. That you could take this class, he could teach you what do you call them, best practices. And you can take that and implement that in your own organization, and it should work, right? But then I wanted to bring this up to him, and I'm kind of on I'm on your side now, Ted. I want to bring this up. Of course, I'm not that stupid, but I bring it up and say, well, yes, but you can also be. I've seen, quote unquote, people trying to be leaders in organizations. That are doing everything correct, like they're not making any mistakes, but they're either jerks or idiots or a-holes, and nobody likes the guy or gal, and they're not leading the ship. You know what I mean? And you have to step back and like, well, I don't know why I don't like this creep. And he's not necessarily making mistakes. I know what he's doing. He just rubs me the wrong way, and I'm going to undermine this a-hole. Right? Right? Yeah, but I couldn't say that to the professor, but I know that that's also true. Now, bear in mind, everyone else in my class is 20. Right? Yeah, and we're talking about, ancient history like 2005. They're like, tell me, professor, what was it like? Yeah. Oh, you're just so smart, Mr. Professor. Tell me everything you know. Yeah. So, anyways, and I'm out there like, yeah. So, yeah. So, anyways, yeah. So, Ted, I think I know what you're saying, but this is, a big but. We need to be careful with our own language to ourselves and even to others, because we can convince ourselves very easily. This is a hard gig, and you're likely to fail. 95% of traders fail, so there's a chance you might fail, right? So it's very easy to lull yourself into a situation where you're like, I failed because it's an art. He's just Wayne's naturally good at this, and I'm not, so I'll do something else. We got to be very careful. There's no out here. We need to scuttle our ships. So it's like Cortez on his ship going to Mexico. I think it was actually El Salvador, but anyways. And then, a few hundred men get off the ship. I think 2 cannons, a couple of dozen horses. And then the first thing Cortez does was sink his ships. Then he told his men, you want to see your wives and children again? Back in Spain? We're going to have to conquer Mexico and the Aztec nation. Or we all die. Let's do it. Yeah, you got to scuttle your ships. There's no art to this. This is all science. And if that's true, and you're not successful, then you screwed it up or something, right? But you need to say, this is supposed to work. I know it works, so I'm going to make it work. I will find a way. If it's not working, then it's me, and I can fix this. It's not that it's as loosey-goosey of it. So that's all. Okay, and that's why I jump on that, Ted. You can do this. I know you can. Right? Yeah. It's worth fighting for. There's no out. All right. So I got tons of people here, crews and stuff. I think that's why my phone's ringing. I got maids coming too, but people on the roof, people in the attic, people everywhere. I got to go. So peace on earth. May the pips be with you. May your profits be above average. Thank you for being a client to TradersWay. We want you to succeed. I hope you know that, and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers.